Hi, I'm Michael, and we're fixing an Ariens 8526 snowblower, and we're going to put a double belt kit on it.
Hi guys, Dan here. As you see, I've got my assistant with me today. We're going to install a double belt kit on this terrible 926 machine. These were one of the machines Ariens made in the 2000s that was notorious for problems. The main being that it doesn't throw snow well. It's just overpower. They're trying to overpower that auger with a single belt. It's a very, very big bucket, and it's a lot of work to do through one belt. So they actually came out with a retrofit kit, and we're going to install that kit today. First, I wanted to show you one thing was this joystick control. This thing is terrible. It doesn't stay in place. Ariens came out with a kit for this. The teeth on the gear are a little smaller, and they give you a little nicer cable. It's not so brittle. That kit's about $35. Now here's the belt kit for this machine, and since it's a 8-horse machine, it's the 726-00700. The 800 kit is for, I think, 12.5 or 13-horse machines. The geometry is different, or the belt pulley size is different, or something on top. I can't remember, but I keep them in the shop because I do about 10 a year. So here's the kit, and here is the part number for the kit. First thing you need to do is to actually split the machine. So we're going to take the cover off here, and we're going to remove the cable and the hex bar that actually turns the chute. So it's pretty simple to remove the cable and the bar. You take the pins out, slide it all out. Here's a shot of the cable for the joystick control from underneath. And here it is with all the parts removed. You can see that gear. In the front there, that kit gives you new gear. The teeth are a little bit shallower on it actually, and you also have to remove the chute control. So here's a look at the machine itself, the single belt, and one of the things I wanted to show you here was another problem with these 926 machines, and this is the drive belt. You see how it's off alignment here? Well, that's because it's disengaged now. When you pull the handle in, the friction plate is actually directly driven by that belt. But what tends to happen on some of these is that the alignment is so far off that the belt throws itself off a lot. I spoke with Ariens on that a couple years ago, and they gave me a fix, and I'm going to show that to you. So first thing we need to do is split the machine. I've got all the cables removed from that front part, and you just take these two bolts out, one on each side, and that splits your machine. And we're going to have Mikey do that right now. So you get a 9/16 and loosen them up. What I do is usually put a garbage can or move one of the benches behind the handlebars, so when I split the machine I can just rest the tractor section on the handlebars, and that'll hold it up fine. And I'm just going to kind of rocker the front of the bucket right off. You might need to kind of jiggle the handlebars, and right where the machine is, you can see I'm moving it to kind of get the bolts out. Give Mikey a hand here. So now we're just going to roll the bucket forward, and there's little hooks on the bottom here where the bucket latches, so the only two bolts that hold it are the top two. And this exposes our bucket and our pulley that drives the main impeller. So here it is. Now we're going to take a look at the old setup here. Basically you can see that one belt drives that giant bucket all by itself, and they overheat. So here Mikey's got the new pulley. Just to show you, it's a double gang pulley. Basically it's about the same size, and we're going to swap that top pulley out. And they also give you a double idler in the kit. That idler, the arm and the pulley and everything, it's pretty good quality. So here my assistant is taking off the pulley, and he's just going to pull out the retaining bolt on it, and then he's going to pop off that pulley and check the bearing actually while you have that pulley off. and make sure that the bearing's not bad. These 926s, I've noticed that sometimes the bearings are actually a little bit loose. It's just loose in the hole. The bearing itself is bad, but the hole, or I'm sorry, the bearing itself is fine, but the hole is actually a little bit big. So you're going to put the new pulley on. This only goes on one way. Put a little blue Loctite on there and put it in there. And give it, just snug it up. You don't have to go crazy with it. It's got a lock washer on it and everything. So we're going to put that pulley on, and then we'll start to work on the machine itself. So here we go. I'm going to tighten this up. Mike has got his impact driver on there. He's set the torque on it, and probably torque it to 25 foot-pounds or something like that. So we'll tighten it up, make sure it's okay, and we'll move on. So now we're going to move on to the machine itself and take the guard off. The new kit comes with a belt guard for the double belts, and one of the things you want to make sure when you do put that new belt guard in is that they tend to require a little bit of finessing, and by that I mean you may have to bend the arms on the belt guard a little bit so it doesn't rub. Some of them are a little tight, some are a little loose. They all seem to come a little different from the factory, but what I do is get it on there and then make any adjustments I need to make. And typically what I do is once it's all set, once it's all installed, I pull the auger handle down so the belts are tight, and then I set the clearance at about 3/16 or a 1/4 inch or so. So here we are taking the this is a 3/8 fine thread bolt. We're going to take the pulley off the engine, and that came out relatively easy. So in some cases here I put a little WD in there, and Mikey's using his WD to loosen it up. You squirt a little WD in there, and then you can turn the engine by hand and kind of let it get down there between all the between the shaft and the pulley itself, and you'd be surprised, it really does help loosen it up. So he's got it loose here, and he's going to pull it off, and we're going to put the new pulley on. So we've got the new pulley, and he's going to line that up, and he's going to show everybody that it is keyed, and there is one way to put it on. The key is built into it, so it's kind of nice. You don't have to worry about it, and it fits pretty nicely. So we're just going to slide that on, and we're going to leave the drive belt all by itself. The belt doesn't change at all for the drive wheels. So here's the kit it comes with. It comes with instructions and a new cable, a heavier spring to pull in the idler pulley. It's very similar to the original, but it's heavier. And since Mikey has done this so many times, he's not going to use the directions, and he's going to get rid of them. Right here, this is our 3/8 fine thread bolt. The larger bolt is the new bolt that holds the new pulley in. I've had situations where the bolt was too short right from Ariens, so I try to keep all the sizes of those bolts around just in case. Try to get as much thread as I can. So he's putting a little bit of blue Loctite on that, and then he's going to thread it in and torque it up. Doesn't give you a torque spec for that, but just snug it up. You don't have to go crazy. I've never had them loosen up. 30 foot-pounds is probably good. 25, 30 foot-pounds, something like that. You certainly don't want to strip a thread on the end of the crankshaft. So got the pulley installed. Now here, this is the alignment issue I want to show you. I've had a lot of customers say my drive wheel stopped working, and that's because the pulley goes so far forward when you're not using it that the alignment is so far off that if your pulley has debris on it, sometimes it'll catch and just throw itself off. Don't forget that drive wheel pulley spins all the time, so that friction disc is spinning, the friction plate spinning all the time. So I spoke to Ariens about this. This is their fix. Take a piece of fuel line, like a 1/4 inch fuel line, cut an inch or so, slide it on the backstop here on that stud, and that'll take up about maybe an eighth of an inch or so. So that's the official fix from Ariens. I was given that 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe more now. So what that does is just when you let off the handle, just doesn't allow it to go so far back. So now you can see that's engaged, and then when you let off the handle, it moves forward. But it's believe it or not, it's actually not super far off. It used to move even further and would just catch itself on the sides of that thing and sometimes throw itself off, especially after sitting all summer. So put a tie wrap on it close to the frame so it doesn't hit the panel there, it doesn't hit that piece of steel, and that's the fix. So that's Ariens, I guess. So now we're going to remove the spring for the brake and install the new idler arm and pulley. Ariens gives you brand new pulley arm and idler pulley, and they also give you 2 new quarter 20 flange bolts that Mike is taking off right now to install it. The actual bar or flat steel there is actually a little bit thicker, so they give you a little bit longer bolt. You can actually probably use the old ones. Notice that there is a little spring return on the side of that arm. And when you put the new pulley in, or the new idler in, make sure that you put that, pull that spring around. You can kind of see it there. It's hard to explain, but you'll see how it works when you take it apart. And it just goes close to the side of the frame, and it just helps pull the arm back a little bit. It doesn't really do that much, but the way that this system works, the idler pulley arm has a little wheel on the bottom, and when you engage it, that wheel pushes over and releases the brake, that big round half U-shaped brake on the bottom. So that thing pretty much pushes it back once you let go. You don't really have to worry about this thing disengaging once you let go of the handle. It needs so much force to engage it that it always comes back. So I think even if you forgot that piece or that spring broke, it probably wouldn't function. I probably would function fine. It wouldn't really function any differently. So not to worry. So this idler pulley comes on the arm. It's tight from Ariens, but I would check it. You can actually adjust it, but the way that they send you the kit, it's adjusted properly for the belts and the all the geometry. So you generally don't have to adjust it. So here Mike has got the matched belts that they give you in the kit. I take a rubber band from the mailman and put the belts around the pulley, and that helps when you reassemble it, just to get all that stuff back in there and make sure that your belts are on the pulley and they're not caught under the brake or anything. So here we're taking the bucket and laying up against that rail on the bottom, that bar on the bottom. You see there's a half moon shape where the bottom of the thing clicks in, and then we just pull the bucket forward or tip the tractor up, and then we're going to put our bolts in. And here you go. Here we go. So we're just going to put that in, and Mikey's going to thread his 3/8 bolts in there, and we'll snug those up. When you do tighten those bolts up, what I try to do on some of these, the bucket doesn't really fit the tractor that well, so I always try to make sure that I get the bolts put in and snugged up close so they're still a little bit loose, and then I pull the tractor and the bucket nice and tight together, and then I snug those things up so I've got a nice tight fit. I think the geometry would be a little bit different if you didn't do that. Still probably work fine, but I just like to make sure it's done right and the belts line up so they wear properly. So after you install this kit, I would expect never to have to change the belts again, probably for the life of the machine. I've started doing these 4 or 5 years ago when the kits came out. I've never seen one worn. I've never had them come back with worn belts, even up here in New England. So when you get the kit installed and you get it working, you are going to be very happy with the results. It just throws like a monster. So Here Mikey's got his ratcheting 9/16 wrench on here. He's snugging these things up. And we're going to just get them kind of snug and then pull the tractor nice and tight and torque them up. They're probably 40 foot-pounds or so. Just snug them. You don't have to go crazy. So here I'm going to have to install the belts because Mikey doesn't have the strength to do it. So I'm going to just cut my elastic and make sure I take that rubber band out of there. And what I do is just run the outside belt forward and then take that inside belt, put it on the first loop, and then I pull the pull cord a little bit to roll it around, just to kind of roll it on there. And then I once I get it on there, I just jumper it over to the next one and roll it on to the next one and get it lined up. And just pull it over. You got plenty of space to pull it on there. The belts are snug, but they're you can do it. So, and this guy goes on. So now we're all set. We got the belts on. I know they're on. I know they're not stuck under the brake or anything, and we're good to go. So now the other part of the kit you need to install is the new cable and spring. It looks identical to the other, the original spring and cable. However, the spring is thicker. It's got it's made of a thicker wire. It's got a lot more pull to it. So when you pull on the handle, your spring will have a little more force to push both of those belts in. So make sure you change that because it probably will slip if you use the original spring. I'll show you here. The springs are they look very similar, but you can see the new spring, the actual wire is a little bit tighter. So I changed the top cable as well, and then I just hang on to those old cables and springs in case something breaks. So put the spring through. They give you a little tie wrap to tie wrap that thing on there, like they did at the factory. It's just to keep the spring from falling off, I guess. So I put the tie wrap on, and then I'm going to change out the top cable piece. You could use the old one and thread it right in. I think it's basically the same cable, but since I have a new one, I'll just put the new one on there, and then I won't have to worry about a old one breaking. So here's the auger handle, and I'm trying to just get a camera shot of where the cable goes up to. There's just a loop on the cable, a washer, and then a little pin. So I'm going to pull that pin out, slide the cable off, and change it. And here I've got the new cable on there, and I'm just going to thread the new spring and up nice and tight. So basically you want to take all the play out of it. And if you look up front at the idler pulley, it's resting against the frame, and as you tighten that thing up, it just starts to pull away. I just want to make sure my brake is working, but I know this cable is going to stretch a little bit over the first couple hours of use, so I make it tighten it up with no play, and I expect it to stretch a little bit, and that'll be fine. So I've never had to readjust them. Make sure you hit the lock nuts there and tighten them up, because if you don't, you'll end up having auger problems again. It'll be frustrating. So that's the final setup there. That's the double pulley idler. Check that to make sure that nut is tight. They usually are, but I always just check them because you never know. And that's that. Now we're going to snug them up. Mikey pulls in the auger, and you can see how the idler pulls over and snugs those belts up. So now we're going to put the guard on. Those are 5/16 24 threads. They're fine threads. Put a little blue Loctite on them and make sure you thread them in by hand. If you strip those things, you'll be shit out of luck, and it could turn into an ugly day trying to fix them. So, so here we are. We're snugging up the new belt guard, and once we get that put on, we'll make any adjustments we need to the guard itself. So I'll try to show you how I've got it set up here. Usually when I tighten it up, I make the adjustments as I tighten it, but I've got the auger handle pulled in so the belts are tight, And you can see I've got a little more than 1/8 on the right hand side there of clearance, and that's fine. Don't forget those belts vibrate around, so you don't want them rubbing on there. And then this is the back side, so that stays in the pulley pretty well, so you got a little more than 1/8 there. So all we need to do now is add our belt cover, and we're done. So thanks for all your hard work, Mikey. If you have any questions, please post them and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching.